This is the 1-3-6-4-2-5-7-1 chord progression in C major. Hands together. Like the other chord progressions, we're going to be starting in the first inversion chord. So instead of C being on bottom, the third of the chord is going to be on bottom, E. And then we still have a G, and that places C at the top. Play me the C major chord in first inversion, the 1 chord. To get to our 3 chord, keep these bottom 2 notes, but your top note is going to move down. And then your right hand is now in a root position, so switch 2 with 3 in the middle. And play me that 3 chord. You should have an E, a G, and a B. And since 1, 2, 3, E is the third note, this is the E minor chord. Go back to your 1. Remember to switch between 2 and 3 in the right hand. Go back to E minor. To get to the 6th chord, you're going to keep your bottom note, and your top 2 notes are going to each move up a step. Notice what I do in my right hand. I take my 3 and 5 and I move. But in my left hand, I keep my 2 where it is, and I just use my thumb to open up the hand to reach. You should have an E, an A, and a C. And since the 6th note in C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is A, this is the A minor chord. Go back to your 3 chord. Remember, in left hand, you just use the 3 that's already there. 1's the only one that moves in left hand. And go back to your 6. To get to your 4 chord, your top 2 notes are going to stay the same, and you're going to move your bottom note up a step. And now that you're in a root position chord, because it's all thirds, you're going to take your left hand 3 and replace your 2 with it. So you should have F, A, C, and since the 4th note in C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, is F, this is an F major chord. Go back to your 6th chord. Remember, in the left hand, replace 3 with 2, because it's a second inversion chord, and left hand uses 2 in the middle for second inversion. Go back to the 4 chord. To get to our 2 chord, we're going to keep the bottom 2 notes, and we're going to take the top note and move it up a step. And since this is a first inversion chord, right hand is going to use 2 in the middle, so replace your 3 with your 2. And we have F, A, and D. And since in C major the 2nd note is C, D, this is a D minor chord. Play that 2 chord again. Go back to your 4. Remember, in right hand, switch back to 1, 3, and 5, 3 in the middle. Now go back to your 2, and remember, in right hand, switch to 2 in the middle because you're going to a first inversion chord. To get to our 5-7 chord, outside notes in each hand are going to stay the same. The middle note is going to move down a step. Notice in my left hand, I already have a 4 finger on it, so I'm just going to use that. And notice in my right hand, I don't have a finger there, so I'm going to move my 2 to get there. And you should have an F, a G, and a D. And since this is the 5-7, and in C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 is G, this is a G7 chord. Go back to your 2. Go back to your 5-7. And then we go back to our 1 chord that we started on. Remember, in left hand, you're going to have to switch your 4 with your 3. Let's go through that whole sequence without stops, saying how the notes move from chord to chord. 1, 2, ready, go. Bottom 2 move. Sorry. Let's do that again. I got scrambled. 1, 2, ready, go. Starting in C major. Top moves down. Top 2 move up. Bottom moves up. Top moves up. Middle moves down. Back to 1. For our back to 1, we really just use our short-term memory of, okay, I remember how 1 started. But if you wanted to, from the 5-7, the middle note stays the same, although left hand's going to use 3 on it instead. And the outside notes each move down a step. Let's go over that again, but this time let's say our Roman numerals. Now remember, our Roman numerals just coincide to whatever the name of the chord is, that's that root's place in the scale. For example, when we say 3, that's because it's an E minor chord, and in C major, E is the 1, 2, 3, third note. So the Roman numeral goes by the name of the root. 1, 2, saying our Roman numerals. 1, 3, 6, 4, 2, 5, 7, 1. With the 5-7, you'll notice it's the only chord that has a second in it, or a step between F and G. That's what makes it a 7th chord, because if we were to take this out of its inversion and put that F on top where it should be, between that G and that F we have an interval of a 7th. That's why it's the 5-7. 5 is the Roman numeral, 7 is just a regular Arabic numeral, indicating there's a 7th interval in there. Now let's go through and say our chord names. Most of these are in inversions, so you can't always go by the bottom note. You have to go by where is the root. So in first inversion, our root's up top. In root position, our root's at the bottom. In second inversion, our root is in the middle. So that's what we're going by when we say the chord names. 1, 2, ready, say your chord names. C major, E minor, A minor, F major, D minor, G7, C major. And if you don't quite understand how we're getting those chord names, it's just good to say the chord names anyway, because it shows your hands. A C major chord can feel like this, even though we know it to feel like this. Since we've said the chord names now, we're ready to do a left-hand bass line, where the left hand just plays whatever chord name we're saying. So for example, if we say C major, our left hand's going to play a C. If we say E minor, our left hand's going to play an E. If we say A minor, our left hand's going to play an A, and so on. The right hand just continues doing the chords that it's been doing this whole time. Let's do our left hand bass line now. 1, 2, ready, and play. C major, E minor, A minor, F major, D minor, G7, C major. And now I'd like to see how exam ready we are by going to the metronome. Let me switch that back to 4, since we're holding each of these for 2. Let's go back to the parallel, where both hands are doing the same thing, the chords. 1, 2, ready, go. Now move your left hand for the bass line. Right hand's going to continue doing the same thing. Left hand bass line now. 1, 2, 3, 4.